What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. It's Alexi here. So in this video we're going to be talking about love. I want to talk about specifically love in the right way, because a lot of people think that like you can find somebody and be with anybody, but the matter of the fact is like fate exists and destiny exists, and there's only really one person in the world that's actually right and meant for you, that's soul bound to you. And a lot of people think that you can be with anybody, but the fact is you can't be with anybody. And especially if you're at all different, like you are on the path with God and you actually have the right belief in God and you follow God and so on, and you only believe in marriage, of course, and these things like this, like you exclude like probably like most of the population just by that fact. And the thing is, God has ordained and destined somebody for everybody. That's actually the one you're supposed to be with in marriage. But a lot of people, since we have this corrupt society, everybody kind of just does whatever they want on their will, and they try to pursue things they shouldn't be, and they end up getting hurt and misled by pursuing things that they shouldn't be pursuing with the people they shouldn't be pursuing, that are not even compatible with them, but they're trying to force things with them. So that's one of the things, don't force things when you clearly know this. It's like when it feels like forcing, as in like you're trying super hard to make it work, that's because it's not meant to work. That's usually like, I've had this multiple, like probably in the past 10 years, like I've had multiple experiences where I've tried to force things to work in like dating, relationship things. And every time you try to force something that clearly isn't working or meant to work, it's not gonna work, because there's a destiny for you, and there's only like one person that's actually meant to be with you at a specific time when it happens. When it's meant to happen in your life, because we all have destinies and fates, and we all have our own gifts and abilities and talents we need to pursue and do. And so fighting against your own destiny in a sense is futile, and fighting and trying to kind of like pursue, you could potentially be successful for a certain period of time after pursuing somebody. Yes, you could be with them for 6 months, year, 2 years, I don't know, maybe even 10 years, but you still probably end up miserable and broken and left alone eventually, and you wouldn't have a very satisfying experience. The reason people have bad experiences is usually because they try to force things that are meant to happen, and that's the reason why you have usually bad marriages or bad relationships and so on. It's because people try to force things they shouldn't be. And I don't believe that anybody should actually do anything outside of marriage, and everybody should get married to the person they're supposed to be with, because that's the way God ordained it to be, and not that we're in these just relationships, no marriage, and we're like changing partners all the time, and that's not how it's supposed to be. And the reason why everything's so broken is because everybody's trying to do that. And that's why love is very broken, and we have abnormal relationships, and people have all these issues mentally, and then people get mentally damaged, then they go mentally damage other people, and the cycle of corruption just continues. And yeah, that's basically love in a nutshell in society. And this video, I hope it acts as a warning for you if you're thinking about you're feeling lonely or you're something like this in a specific time in your life. I hope this can kind of encourage you to not make mistakes. I haven't made any huge mistakes myself in my life, as in like I've wasted a ton of time or been in relationships, but like I know a lot of people who have been in relationships and they've made a ton of mistakes, and they end up eventually finding their person that's good for them, and they're married. But like that's a lot of trouble you can avoid if you just choose to not make those mistakes and follow God, and find your true path in life through your true highest self. This way you can avoid a lot of the mistakes that a lot of people make in relationships, and going into relationships they shouldn't be going in, and pursuing and wasting time with people they shouldn't be. And they could use that time way better with something actually useful, like pursuing whatever you need to pursue in your life. That's your path, that's in your path, they should be doing pursuing normal humanity. And part of normal humanity is not going after people who are not meant for you. And you'll definitely know when it feels bad. It feels bad. It's just like anything else in life. When something feels bad or off in your intuition and your gut, and you just feel like bad or like off, there's something off about something, that's when you need to know that's when you shouldn't engage with something. And when you should engage with something is when it feels easy and good and it feels aligned. If it doesn't feel like that, it's probably because it's just like it's not meant to be, or even if it's like you can kind of do it, but it's like a little bit forced. Still like it feels a little bit like off. Like I've had experiences where it feels like kind of like you're going into it and it feels like okay, but it's still not like, it's kind of like, maybe it's like kind of like that soulmate you're supposed to have, but it's not like exactly your soulmate, but it's kind of that way. So it feels kind of like, you know, good for a while, but then it ends up failing for a reason or another because that person is not actually meant to be with you. And that's kind of like where you have to be discerning and really careful. And I think also things will naturally come to you in your time if you're going on the path with God. Things will naturally align in your life and come to you when it's time to come. And you don't need to necessarily force things to happen and worry about it so much. And yeah, we all have natural callings in our lives, and when you feel called to something, you feel called to something, you can feel it. And when you don't, and when something isn't working, you should stop. That's basically how I'd explain it. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say in this video about love. I think that's pretty simply explained how love for me in my mind is right now. And kind of as an acts of warning for people who pursue things. I've seen a lot of people make this mistake. And a lot of people talk about this in society, I guess, and so on, but not exactly in this way. People also always talk about like avoiding just people and women and whatever, but they don't actually understand the concept behind like the way things are ordained and destined for our lives. So this is kind of the problem. It's like people don't actually understand these dynamics and how God ordained it to be and how God wants it to be for us. And this is why people make so many mistakes, is because they don't understand this truth. But if you'd like to donate, there's a link in the description. If you like coaching and book a one-on-one with me, it's also in the description. Thank you for watching. If there's a will, there's a way. God bless. Thank you.